Big news. Big news. Breaking news, Mason Greenwood to leave Manchester United at the end of the season. More and more rumours coming out that Barcelona and Atletico Madrid have been watching the player extremely closely, and Manchester United, amongst other clubs in the Premier League, are not willing to take him back due to the whole kind of PR nightmare that kind of surrounds it. I can already see a couple of comments in the comment section. I'll get into them in a moment, but let me just read out the actual article and the stuff that's been coming out on social media. According to Alex Crook, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid have been watching Mason Greenwood in person for Getafe this season. It is very likely that a club will make an offer for him this summer. Manchester United do not plan for Mason Greenwood to return, and this goes against somewhat of what people have been thinking. I've always been of the opinion that he will come back to the club, and they'll kind of package it somehow. Maybe this is being put out, for whatever reason. I don't know. I can't confirm nor deny. But the rumours are there, the very strong rumours, and they're suggesting he's going to stay in Spain. Maybe he's settled over there now. Obviously, he thinks his level is above Getafe. I think at the moment he's got 5 goals and 5 assists in 17 starts, so he's not doing bad there at all, and a pretty, average team. They're a bit of a mid-table team, Getafe. So he seems to be developing there. He seems to be more settled. Like, in my opinion, I couldn't give a shit whether he's settled or not, but he seems to be more settled there with his missus, and, life's, apparently going perfect over there. So maybe he's happy there. Maybe he wants to move on. I thought he would have wanted to prove a point at Manchester United. I don't want him back at United, but I would have thought he wanted to prove something. And I'm just curious to know if people have changed their minds on this Mason Greenwood situation or not, because obviously when the whole thing blew up, you had the court case, everyone was just absolutely, fully convinced. I mean, you had the other person who would had Greenwood pictures in their profile and was saying oh no, save our boy Mason and all this kind of stuff. But obviously, the majority of people was fucking sick human being, don't want him anywhere near my club, all this kind of stuff. And then, obviously, time is a healer, as they say, and United actually planned a package to bring him back. And they actually had in the thing, certain words they could use. They had planned it all, right? And I think Adam Crafton from The Athletic kind of broke the story around it, and they weren't expecting that. So then they had to make a U-turn on it, because let's remember, Manchester United aren't a proactive club. We're a reactionary club. So we don't think about things forward. We just kind of react to it as we go. We've always done that in transfer policies, in dealing with contracts, in whatever it is in life. This is what Manchester United do. So, look, this is a situation where we're at. He goes on loan to Getafe, does relatively well there. The opinion of him shifts, which it would do in time. In 5 years' time, people's opinion on Mason Greenwood would be completely different to how it is now, I imagine so. That's just the nature of the game, and that's just the nature of life in general, I think. People may disagree with me, but, that's just what I think, you know what I'm saying? So, I appreciate some people are looking at Alex Crook, and I have spoken about him myself previously, saying this guy, sometimes talks absolute nonsense. I remember the De Jong saga. I remember numerous things from this guy where he's just talking nonsense. So I'm not saying it's absolute gospel, but I've heard this from other people as well. Credible people have mentioned about Greenwood staying in Spain. So it's not just pulled out of my backside, you know what I mean? It's a lot of people talking about it. And what are we here for? Here to report the news. And not even just a news show, just to have a chat about it, really. Because that's what I want to do. I just want to kind of gauge where everyone's opinions is at the minute with Greenwood. Whether they want to keep him, whether they change their mind. And if you have changed your mind, that's fine. People are entitled to change their opinion. They have their own reasoning for it. I know people from the start was I don't give a shit. I want him to play here, score 20 goals. That's their opinion. That's boxed off. I've always been of the opinion, I don't want him anywhere near United, because I know for a fact if that was my sister or my mum or any kind of female that's in my family and I knew about that, I wouldn't want him anywhere near it. And people say you shouldn't bring personal things into it and you shouldn't do that, and that's fine, whatever. Again, it's all opinionated and it's not an argument. It's just I want to know where people's opinions are at. So let's read out a couple of comments. Jari Malman said if it had been any other club than Barcelona, I would have said yes, this could be a thing. Barcelona are so broke, they cannot keep the lights on anymore. Well, exactly. People were talking about Frankie de Jong and saying that they need to sell him and need to make profit, and it could be an option in the summer. I did a members video about that. So I don't know where they're pulling the funds out from. Maybe they're going to get him on Klarna or something like that. I have no idea. It's not often I do this, but I'm taking my hat off to classy Liverpool by letting Sven-Göran Eriksson lead the Legends team at Anfield. Eriksson got cancer, and it was his wish to do this. Do you know what? For all the shit we give Liverpool, and obviously they are direct rivals, when it comes to things like that, they get it right, usually. I mean, the Super League, we was involved in that as well, so can't really comment on that, but the majority of things like that and family stuff, Liverpool gets spot on, so you can't deny him of that, so fair play to him. Talk sports, they almost say the mood is made out of cheese. Exactly. I know what you mean. I'm not taking it as gospel, but I'm just saying, hearing from other people, other source, that kind of thing, it's more credible, I think, than it seems. Definitely to stay in Spain, at least, whether it be Atletico or Barca or even maybe another team. Look, maybe Madrid don't get Mbappe and they go for Greenwood. I don't know. But stranger things have happened in football, right? Dan Errington saying, I heard Atletico favourites to sign him. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Simeone won't give a shit. He won't give a shit. He'd just like, get in this team, get scoring goals, and they'll take him on. Who would he suit better? I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I feel strange commenting on his ability and kind of bigging him up because I don't want to do it. But before he left, before all this shit kind of kicked and hit the fan, he was a generational talent. Absolute generational talent. Left foot, right foot, headed, whatever. Was the fucking moon was this kid's ceiling. And obviously he fucked that up. He's rebuilding his life now, and that's not to say he can't go do it again. Because he could easily go Barcelona and kill it. It's like, we wouldn't be surprised by it, would we? So I'd probably say Barcelona would be more suitable for him, but I don't know. Daniel Raj saying, my opinion might have changed if he would have apologised on the camera and said, I've settled the issue with the girlfriend. Yeah, I get that. People wanted apologies. People wanted stuff put out in the media. I mean, the girl's still with him. So there's just a lot of kind of things between the lines that you can't see and people can only speculate. And that's been the whole issue with this situation. My thing with it is I've saw the evidence. I saw the pictures. I heard the voice notes. That was him. And then pictures was that girl. And people say, oh, these things can be manipulated and these things can... Whatever. This is my opinion. I'm not going to change it because people have a different opinion to myself. I just know what I saw, I know what I heard, and I know what I'm at the club. And to be honest, someone makes a great point there. Dan Errington saying, stick with Rasmus and splash out on Tony. I'm really happy with the youngsters that we have at this club at the moment. Rasmus Højlund's starting to kill it. He's on fire. Garnacho, right-hand side, killing it. You know, Rashford's neither here or there, but, you know, he's still there or thereabouts. We've got Ahmad, who's sat on the bench, not getting minutes. Pellistri on loan, who's scoring against Barcelona and assisting against Barcelona. Like, we've got talented wingers at the club. I know Mason can play as a 9, but he predominantly plays more on, like, the right. But we've got Rasmus. So, we're not... Even if we was desperate, I still wouldn't want it back. But in that situation, if it's hypothetical and we was desperate and we needed to bring someone back for FFP implications, it's a homegrown player and I still want to bring him back. So I'm happy with the options we have in attack at the moment. I really, really am. And I think Ratcliffe and Ineos and Co and the rest of the club will be looking at this situation, and I think they will be saying, look, this is pure profit if we can get a deal with him. If he continues on this trajectory in La Liga, there's a lot of eyeballs on Mason Greenwood at the moment, and we will definitely get a sale for him, whether that's 40, 50 million. And that, as pure profit, is massive. Yes, you're losing a generational talent, but the nightmare you'd fucking get from bringing him back, I think that's the right decision for the club. And I think that's what Ineos will make. But again, stranger things have happened in football before, so who am I to say what's going to happen? That's just, again, my opinion. You said it right there, trade Greenwood for De Jong. I mean, if that deal is on all day, I would do that in a blink of an eye and not even question it. But then wages, and I mean, De Jong's on a lot of Barcelona. Greenwood, I don't think is on a lot. I'm guessing he's on about 70k a week at United. I don't know how long he's got left on his contract. Is it 2 years? I should have checked this before I came on. But I'm pretty sure it's at least a couple of years, right? So, yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, give me De Jong and take Greenwood. But that's FIFA stuff. That I would never have. If that happened in the summer, I'd be I'd be shocked. I miss him as a player badly, but then his acts just don't add up. Any other crime would be reversed, but this crime is very, very hard to forgive him. And I get that, you know, sometimes you sat there, you're thinking, this kid's talent, what he could do for our club now. You know, if you look at the options we could have had, if Anthony lived up to the player that we thought he'd be when we spent all that money, and then you've got Ahmad coming through, looks like a talented youngster. Garnacho's killing on the right-hand side. You bring Greenwood back. You've got Højlund there. You've got Rashford. You throw an experienced seasonal player into that mix and you are cooking, mate. You are absolutely cooking. You've got frightening potential in that front three, haven't you? So, yeah, obviously hasn't panned out that way. It hasn't gone that way. And I don't think he will be returning to the club. I really, really don't. The girl is still with him. All that makes the confusion. I'm still unable to digest the fact that his girlfriend is loving with him when he herself shown everyone that he's done. That happens in loads of situations, or Dan, in loads of relationships. The girl always stays with the guy, even though there's complications or there's, even domestic violence cases and stuff. It is the percentage is, yeah. Do you know what I mean? We still need a centre forward. Relying too much on Rasmus. If he gets injured, we don't have an out and out centre forward. Says Dan Errington. But who would you go and get, Dan? Talk to me. What striker would you go and get? Because this is what me and Sam was discussing yesterday. If you bring in someone like an Ivan Toney, does that dampen Højlund's potential and growth if he's sitting on the bench? Toney's going to be expecting to play every game. I know people say competition and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I think Rasmus, from what I've seen, has the potential to really grow into that role and become our focal point for the next 10 years if he stays fit and doesn't pick up, more injuries and stuff. But then you bring in someone massive, a huge striker. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tricky one. Front three would be Rashford, Højlund and Greenwood. Behind them, Bruno Garnacho. Centre mid is one of the bring the ball forward. He's among 97% of ball carriers in Europe this season. Yeah, I don't see Alejandro Garnacho as a centre mid. I know he works hard, but I mean, when you're playing central midfielder, your blinkers have to be on everywhere, and I think he'd just be scattered all over the place. Keep him on the wing, man. He's killing it on the right hand side. You just don't want to kind of square peg round holes situation again. E.g. McTominay in defensive midfield. But his act has stabbed us deeper. We lost a right winger who was next big thing, and then we spent 80 million on Antony. Yeah, it's kind of been like a process, hasn't it, that's hurt us in the long run. But Antony hopefully will learn from now in our transfer policies. Ineos coming in and taking control of the sporting department is massive for the future, for the next 5-10 years, however long it's going to be. So hopefully we won't see any more transfers like the Sancho one or like the Maguire one or like the Antony one. Like any of these kind of things I don't want to see. So I just thought that to kick things off, it was interesting to discuss the Mason Greenwood situation and would you take him back? Let me know in the comment section. Alex Crook, everybody's favourite journalist, has also been talking about Dan Ashworth, saying he has a long-standing relationship with Sir Dave Brailsford and is also admired by Sir Jim Ratcliffe. If they can get him out of Newcastle, I would make him the favourite for the sporting director role. And apparently people close to him are saying, no, he's focused on Newcastle, he's doing this, whatever. Or people at Newcastle, I think that was. But other people around him are saying he's open, he wants a new challenge. It's an exciting opportunity. If you're sat there as a sporting director, even if you have a very good project at Newcastle, and let's be honest, they're not doing well at the moment. They're out of Europe, aren't they? They're 9th in the table. Like, where's this project going? Are they going to try and be sustainable in Europe? Whereas with United, you're looking at it, you're like, this is an opportunity to take United from, the past 10 years where they've been deprived of just any kind of professionalism or structure, and go into there and make them one of Europe's giants again. Because brand-wise and image-wise, United are already there. You take them back to European glory and you have your name tagged on that. That's as good a CV you're going to get anywhere on the planet. So Newcastle fans will want to tell you, no, Newcastle is the place. Look at the project. Look at the money. Look at this, da-da-da. It's apples and oranges, mate. This is Manchester United we're talking about, with all due respect to any club. And the wages as well, likewise. You're talking about a job here, guys, career. He's probably going to be double that, or he's definitely going to earn more in it at Manchester United. So how can someone turn down that opportunity? I think Dan Ashworth has already kind of sat there being like, weighing up his options and saying, you know what, yeah, I want to take this challenge on at United because it's exciting. Again, but that's my thoughts. That's how I feel. And I think he would do a fantastic job. I really, really do. I like the work that he's done at Newcastle, at Brighton, even before that. Like, he's a competent person, and we need competent people at the very top. And we've already brought in a couple. I know the lads did a show today, Shreyas and Sam, about Sir Jim Ratcliffe and it being ratified, e.g. And they was discussing that. A really, really good show, so make sure you check that out if you did miss it. But that's been ratified now, just waiting from the FA. Once that's confirmed, you will get your sporting director. And we are going to get James on from the Muppeteers, who is well tapped into that side, has been absolutely spot on about everything. So we are going to bring him onto the show, and we're going to have a chat to him about that and get the whole kind of structure set up and what's what in that situation. So that's interesting. I want to get onto a couple of the players, because there's been a couple news bits about him. I've seen Rio Ferdinand talking about Diego Dalot today, saying that what Ronaldo had said about him, Dalot needs a special mention. He says he remembers speaking to Cristiano, saying, is he going to be any good? And Cristiano said, Rio, he works, he'll work hard, he'll make himself better. 100% he'll improve. And I think you guys remember when Ronaldo did, that interview with Piers Morgan, Mr. Gammon Face. He mentioned a couple of players, didn't he? Who he thinks had the potential to go on, or who trains really. I think he mentioned Lissandro, Diego Dalot, and there was maybe a couple of others that he may have not named, or like half named or whatever. And to be honest, Dalot, I don't know what's happened in his game over the past, since the turn of the year, but he's leveled up. Do you know when you play FIFA career mode and you look and you go to your squad and it's like he's got up 2 overalls? That's how it feels like at the minute. Like his defending has gone up a notch. His aggression seems to have gone up. His reading of the game's gone up a notch. He's put in some vital blocks over the past couple of games. Really, really big ones. One against Watkins. There's one in the game before that. Who did we play, man? West Ham. Was it Bowen? Jared Bowen. I think he blocked as well. Offensively, he's been great. His crossing is unbelievable. I seen someone mention on Match of the Day the other day, so he's got one of the best crosses in the Premier League. I like it. I was and ahhing about him because some of the games early on in the season, especially the Champions League, his back post defending was just a fucking nightmare. And then I see Gary Neville talking about how good he is at the back post. I'm like, Neville, mate, you're a right back who played for United. If you've not watched him this season, like some of his defending at times has been awful, especially in that Copenhagen game. So it's always been a toss-up on it between Diego Dalot, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. First 6 months, everyone was saying Wan-Bissaka's the right back. We need to have a think about Dalot, maybe get a sale from Barcelona. And it just shows how quickly things can change in football, because Wan-Bissaka isn't in the picture now for whatever reason. He might be injured and he's got something ongoing. Dalot is the starting right back at the minute. You do not want to change that position because he has been consistent. He's been playing really, really well. And he deserves it. He deserves his flowers at the minute, much like Rasmus Højlund deserves his flowers as well. And a load of other players. So if he continues again, another one on this trajectory, another young player. Like, if you actually deep the age profile of our squad, I think Lisandro Martinez is 24, right? So let's just say our best starting 11. Onana's 27, 28. Lisandro, 24. The centre-back, obviously, Varane. We're going to look at that situation. Dalot's like 21. He might be 22, 23, actually. But still very, very young. We've got Malacia behind Luke Shaw. But Luke Shaw's obviously 28, I think, now, or maybe even 29. Like, he's getting on. Maybe they'll look at kind of a replacement there due to injury issues and stuff. But you've got Malacia, a young 100 left-back, behind him. Kobbie Mainoo's 18 years old, man. 18. Do you know what I mean? Garnacho, 18. Or 19, I think he is now. Rasmus is 21. Ahmad's like 20. Like, they've got loads of young talent there. Loads of young talent. And I think if they can grow with a couple of, like I mentioned before, senior players chucked in there, I think, yeah, it looks very, very promising. There was a little thing about Kobbie Mainoo actually saying that he's in no rush to negotiate a new contract. He's going to make a new decision about his international future because he could pick Ghana or England, I think. People kind of prematurely talking about, I think it was Mainoo, Rice and Bellingham at the Euros. I don't see that ever happening. I think we know what Gareth Southgate's like. He'd play Kelvin Phillips over Kobbie Mainoo. But, you know, the way he's been playing, you can't turn a blind eye to it. Like, he's been unbelievable. People talking about Lewis Miley at Newcastle as well. Like, the future for England's pretty fucking bright. It's pretty bright. I'd be interested to see who he goes for in the Euros. But I don't think... I mean, Kobbie maybe is a bench option to go. I'm not saying he should be, but I'm saying maybe be on the bench. Maybe to play a Rice, Bellingham and Foden, I would imagine. Obviously, Kobbie's behind in that pecking order. You've got loads of other midfielders who are going to be chomping for a bit, to get on that plane. So I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I just don't think Southgate would pick him personally, just because I know what Gareth Southgate is like. Right, let's read some comments. Smash a like on the video, by the way, if you can. I know Champions League football's kicking off soon, so we shall end the show very, very shortly. But just one more thing. I want to talk about Elise from Crystal Palace. Tony Osman in 98, we had 4 really good centre-forwards, so we need rotation. But in the 90s, we played with 2 strikers, so you needed 4 strikers to compete for 2 spots. So maybe you bring in 1. I just don't know. I don't want to dampen. If Højlund continues now scoring and doing what he's doing and develops that consistency, you don't need to get in another striker. You need to get 1 in for rotation, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the best of the best because you've already got a 20-plus goal scoring striker there. Yeah, don't buy a striker who'll be a barrier to Højlund's growth. Get a senior striker who's like 31, 32 and at the end of his career. And there's one thing's done as well, more importantly, a seasoned striker. Charlie Malman says, for the first time in a long time, I want City to win. I also want Arsenal to win the Champions League. They need to reach the semi-final and then can get knocked out. 5th equals Champions League. Yeah, a lot of people kind of relying on that, aren't they? That 5th thing. I think Ten Hag's relying on it more to the point, and the players are, because they're looking at the wage boost. Ten Hag looking at the revenue for the transfer market, Ineos and Co. and likewise. So a lot of people are probably hoping at United that the 5th place gets some Champions League as well, because I don't think we're going to catch Tottenham. I think there's potential now after that Villa game to catch Aston Villa, but I don't see us catching Tottenham. I think Tottenham are a far better team than us this season, and that kills me to say it, but it's the reality. Dalot has been looking a lot better lately, says Dino Lewis. Hopefully he can keep his form going. Absolutely. Dan says, I always have faith in Dalot. I rated him above Wan-Bissaka because he's just like a modern football wing-back who offers more attacking. He had bad games, but he showed glimpses that he fits Ten Hag's style. Well, it's definitely, we always known secretly, like, Ten Hag, we know his preferred option is Dalot, but then, you know, there's been certain games, I remember the Newcastle game specifically in the final where Dalot was getting rinsed by Alan St. and, you know, straight away brings on Wan-Bissaka and negates the attack. That's what you get with Wan-Bissaka. So that's why I'm not so eager to get rid of Wan-Bissaka out the door, because you could bring him in against any winger in the world and he would lock him down. The majority. We've seen it against Neymar and Mbappe. He locked Sterling down every time he played against him. St. Maximin, like tricky, speedy wingers, and he locks him down like that. He is the COVID. Yeah, lockdown, you get what I'm getting at. We are clicking right now. Dalot, Garnacho, Menu, Cass and Højlund all good. Even Maguire's been fantastic. Onana, the last 2 games has been cooking. Quietly going under the radar, Onana, in a minute. I want to touch wood because you just don't know when his conform can turn upside down. Maybe it's because we're not in the Champions League anymore. The future of England would be bright once Southgate is gone. You're probably right. I'll be shocked if Menu is not one of the players not picked by England. That's what I mean. They've got so much talent to pick from. It must be a headache trying to pick that playing for the Euros, but it's a nice headache to have because we have a lot of talent in England at the moment. Right, the last player I'm going to talk about is Michael Elise. We speak about wingers before. He could be someone potentially who's coming through the doors. People saying, Alex Crook again, saying, I think Manchester United will be working on this deal actively behind the scenes. Man City and Chelsea have also shown interest, so I think United will want to try and get that done earlier if they can. Aaron Wan-Bissaka could be included in the potential Michael Elise to United deal this summer. Again, whenever I hear anything about swap deals, I just think utter nonsense. They're talking shit. Because they're so hard to do. Like, when was the last successful swap deal? I can't think of one United has ever done. Alexis Sanchez was a fucking disaster. And that's not to say every swap deal you do after that is going to be a disaster, but it's just trying to get all the agents on side, the players, the wages, like it's a headache. It's an absolute headache for a transfer, so I don't see that happening. I also don't see Wan-Bissaka wanting to go back to Palace after he's played Champions League football and won a trophy with United. I don't think he'd probably see that as a step down, so I think that deal would be difficult to do. But on Elise, I've seen a lot of these kind of, I don't know what you call them, kind of TikTok tactician, statistical kind of guys. You'll know who I mean. They're all over H on Twitter, Jack Fawcett, these kind of guys. And, you know, they do the due diligence. They put a lot of work into it. You know, I'm not discrediting that whatsoever. And they're all going on about Michael Elise and how much of a top player he'd be. And they have all the stats and facts to back it up. My issue is with Michael Elise is his injury issues first and foremost. That guy always seems injured. And we're trying to go away from, you know, the recruitment that we usually do. We never seem to take a look at players' injury issues. We always just sign them and then it's like, yeah, he's out for fucking... I mean, how many injuries have we had this season? Even last season, right, we have a lot of injury-prone players, Luke Shaw being one of them. Other players as well you can throw into that mix. So I don't want to. It's hard to, when we need consistency and reliability, I don't want to go for an injury-prone player. I think Elise is extremely talented. You know, he's done it really, really well this season for Crystal, in an average Crystal Palace team. Definitely looking for that step up. I know he's got a release clause. I think it's like 50 million euros or something. So, yeah, I know why people are excited about him. I know why people like him. Just for me personally, I just don't. I think Disco Stu has fucking put a great comment in there. For me, Elise is another trend transfer like Casado. I just hope we don't jump on something because everyone is saying it. Exactly, Disco Stu. Fucking, if that was the nail right there, hammer, bosh. Honestly, that's how I feel. It's just like everyone on Twitter's getting that little bit of, trend about him. I see it as a trend sign. I think that's absolutely spot on. Also, is it a priority, the right-hand side at the minute, with the way Garnacho's performing? If you've got Garnacho and Ahmad there, and you've got Rashford and Anthony obviously still floating about. Maybe you need a left winger more than you do need a right winger. I don't know. Because you know what Rashford's like with his form. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a priority. I want to bring in another midfielder. I think that's definitely a priority. And number 8. The right back is interesting because Delo's doing really well at the minute. So, are they going to bring in a Frimpong there? An experienced striker we need and a centre-back we need. So, I would go with Braithwaite. If I had the magic wand now, I would go Braithwaite as a centre-back for the future. I would go, I'd probably keep Varane around and sell Harry Maguire. I would go bang Frenkie de Jong, see if we could do a deal with Barcelona because their financial situation in a minute. I mean, maybe you can include a Greenwood in that deal. Doubt it would happen. I would, strike is the interesting one. I don't know. I don't have a striking target at the minute to bring in. Really, really don't. There's not an outstanding one that I'm looking at and I'd be like, yeah, he would come in and he'd be perfect, like the perfect blend. So I think I need a bit of time on that. And then, yeah, obviously if there's room for manoeuvre in the summer, depending on sales, then, yeah, maybe look at a winger. Maybe look at a Casemiro kind of replacement. Maybe, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. I keep saying the summer under Ineos this year is going to be fascinating. I can't wait to even be covering it on this channel. The transfers, the different decisions, the players they're letting go, what changes they're making in terms of start with the stadium and all this kind of stuff. It's nice to look forward to summer rather than thinking we know exactly what we are going to get this summer with the Glazers in charge. It's wait about, panic buy at the end of it. Go buy 2-3 players at the end of the window, panic and make it look like we was planning it all along. We haven't got another one of them summers upcoming, hopefully. So, happy days, I think. Swapping Anthony with Elise makes a lot more sense. I mean, financially, it doesn't because Anthony's on 200 grand a week and we paid 85 million quid. But performance-wise, if you offered me, I'd take that in a heartbeat. 2 hamstring injuries in a year, stay away. Yeah. But getting a top midfielder will make Manu think twice to extend his contract. That's what I mean. They have to be very delicate with, who they go and get. And maybe that's why Manu's waiting. Maybe that's the situation. I don't know. If you haven't subscribed to Real Reds Talk already, if you're watching this live or watching this later on when you're in the bath, whatever it is you're doing on the planet, please do hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot more than you know. Please do smash a like on the video as well if you haven't done already. Share it to a friend. If you know people that love football content in general, share it. Check out Real Reds, etc. Check us out on socials. And also, this weekend, I am going to start a new series on this channel. I haven't even told the lads about this yet at all. But keep an eye out this weekend. Just got my new camera, as you could probably see on the thing. I'm going to start doing something called Old Trafford Diaries. Okay, so just keep an eye out for that on the weekend. And yeah, you'll see what that's all about. Of course, we'll have the preview for Luton as well coming up. We'll have the lads on there. And as I mentioned before, we're going to get James from the Muppeteers on. A couple of you guys who know that is already. We've had him on before. Amazing knowledge about Ineos and everything that's going on at United. So can't wait to get him on the show. And we're going to be increasing things like this because I appreciate you guys tuning in consistently, even when it's just like random news shows and things like this. So we're going to up the content. We're going to up everything on this channel. So yeah, appreciate the support constantly. If you want to become a member, click the link in the bio. It's like £3 a month. Just help support the channel and you get exclusive content, badge next to your name, and a chance to feature on the show. So stay locked in. Enjoy the football tonight, guys, if you are watching it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, yeah? Legends. See you in a bit.